Hey Paul, how you doing?
I'm good, John. Well,
Hi, good.
I'm a little up and down, to be
Yeah,
truthful.
I think we all are.
Yeah,
Yeah. When you got this request, Gary, to perform at the concert hall to an empty room, did you pause and think, hang on a minute, is this something I can actually do?
I did. I did. I think I didn't think about a whole lot initially, other than jump at the opportunity to play um, a gig that was going to be meaningful in the sense that it was going to have some reach. And I suppose I look at it as a portal to connecting to people. I think a lot of us as artists are just jonesing for that at the minute. The band Bell X1 should be in the middle of a pretty extensive tour at the moment that we've kicked on till next year, and I think on a lot of levels we're just looking for that connection to people. As and I've been doing a little bit of streaming from my living room. I've been doing a little show for children and families on Friday afternoons, and it's really given me that sense of connection to people as well. That
Would you be in any way nervous, Paul, about the idea of performing in an empty room? Because when you think about it, particularly with pop music or rock music, the energy, the to and fro between you and a live audience is very important. It's a huge part of the event.
it is, and I suppose I've thinking about having played in the concert hall lots of times and imagining what it'll be like to try to bring that proper performative energy to an empty room and how surreal that'll be. Um, I think having it being live and having live feedback coming back on a ticker tape or screen in front of me will hopefully. I've been thinking about trying to sort of imagine, hey, there's Johnny in San Francisco. Maybe I can seat him in row A, seat 23, and imagine these people that are hopefully going to be watching in and seat them around the auditorium, and play to it in that way.
I mean, there are lots of artists who do their work at home alone. I mean, if you're a writer, that's what you do. If you're a, I'm not an artist, but I do a radio program on my own in a room. So these things are doable, but there's just something about music in particular. It is about communication. And I
Yeah,
suppose,
it,
when,
it's a different animal, and it I'm not going to pretend like it's the same thing. But it's not a rehearsal. It's not a writing session. There will be a performative element to it. I mean, I've been doing solo shows, small solo shows myself for the last couple of years, and sort of leaning into various projects that I've done over the years and pulling songs from them, as well as the band, as the Bell X1 material. So, I've kind of worked up a way of doing that feels like it connects, and hopefully that will connect in this very odd and new way. I mean, it's in some ways it's like I get feedback from people just who say that it's a more intimate experience. Um, as a performer, it's there is an added obviously an added degree of separation when you're playing to a camera lens, and the only feedback you're getting uh, is from a screen. So
how
yeah, it
important,
remains to be seen how that'll feel.
how important, Paul, has music been to you personally, either with your own creativity or just listening to music over the last number of months?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I think I've felt very sort of creatively bereft in this time.
Mm.
Whatever energy is needed to make new things, I haven't had. This has, whatever is in the air has sort of sapped that for me. I've been really leaning into songs of comfort, songs that mean a lot to me. From again, I've been playing songs on the piano and posting them online, but they're songs like Together in Electric Dreams, or Heart of a Saturday Night, or Manic Monday, you know, songs that for me are comfort songs. Um, and, you know, it's hard not to listen to everything through the prism of this moment as well. And things can take on a heft and a gravity that they otherwise wouldn't, maybe. You know?
Yeah, it's strange when a song does that. I mean, you play it's happened to me a few times recently on the radio. I play a song and it's so on the money for the situation we're in, and it wasn't. I didn't intend it. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah,
You know? Songs
there's,
I've known for years.
yeah, absolutely. And there's one song I did most recently, "Hold On" by Tom Waits,
Yeah.
from Orphans, and it's just I mean, I always felt the emotional wallop of that song, but it's tenfold at the moment, you know.
And on a more, in terms of music as a communal thing, then to move it on from the personal, why do you think, Paul, that music means so much to us as what's the word as a species, as a
Yeah,
type of being?
yeah. I've just finished a master's, 2-year master's in music therapy, in the University of Limerick, and we do talk about that, and the in some ways the frustrating enterprise of trying to talk about what music is, and that notion that talking about music is like dancing about architecture, you know. And there's a sort of it's a cliche within music therapy, and it's sort of only wheeled out sort of ironically, but it's still true to say that when words fail, music speaks. That's I feel it is a channel of communication that works on a more primal level than language. And when you feel the emotional wallop of a song, personally or even more powerfully collectively, that one of the things I think we're yearning for and we've become wistfully nostalgic for are those collectively enjoyed moments of being at a gig and collectively enjoying those emotional wallops from songs. Um,
And in circumstances like this, Paul, where things are exceptional, really strange, and we don't really know what's happening to our lives in some ways. Um, do you ever doubt the power of music in severe circumstances? I'm not talking about you've broken up with somebody or the usual stuff that happens in life. Something bad happens. Do you ever doubt the power of music or art in general in those circumstances?
I suppose in the sort of the fog of dread that this moment has brought, that I certainly come in and out of, and again, having studied music therapy and looked at sort of clinical applications of music in hospital settings and school settings and in the community, one of my first when we started seeing uh, uh, ICUs and very high level medical practices and emergencies, and I got wondering, like, there's nobody crying out for an ocean drum in the ICU. Like, what role can music play in this moment? But I do think, given the long tail that this moment will have, certainly music not only plays a part in soothing us within the moment, but I think as we come out of it, art will retrospectively, I think, speak to the moment, but also help us to sort of make sense of it and absorb it into our lives.
Yeah. Are you concerned about the future? And I know we don't know what the future is exactly, but just in terms of being a musician and being someone whose life is about playing music to other people.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Who knows when gigs as we've known them will come back, and when people will be comfortable enough to get into a packed room together. Our shows for this year have kicked on 12, 18 months, but who knows if they'll be happening then, you know. So yeah, it's there's a sort of existential, what am I doing and will that ever look the same again moment. Um,
I mean, a lot of young musicians in particular, but not just young musicians. A lot of musicians are struggling right now. They must be.
for sure. And you know, it's it's given us pause for thought as to what the value of music is and how it is valued. And you know, with revenue from live music gone, and for songwriting about to take quite a dip when advertising revenue drops and bars and restaurants can't pay their licenses, and which is sort of pivots the focus to streaming. And there's quite a lot of momentum behind addressing the unfairness of that, and hopefully there'll be some sort of redress of the imbalance of power there. You know,
But I think part of the redress will be, you would hope when this is over, there'll be a kind of a reset in thinking, not just about the value of frontline workers. You know, that's obvious to us. And even to people to whom it wasn't obvious, it ought to be obvious now. But there'll also be a reset. I would like to think about the importance of the arts and music as, you know, we would be lost without music.
for sure.
It is that important.
Yes, the worry is that there'll be a sort of slow slide into business as usual and you know, resuming the attitudes that we have developed towards the place of the arts in the world. And but you know, I think given how hungry people are and for art now, and the role it's playing in helping people make sense of this moment, I hope that there'll be a tail to that as well, and that will last.
So back to this concert, Paul, on June the 5th. Um, what exactly are you going to do? I mean, are you going to be surrounded by a million foot pedals and wah-wahs and fuzz boxes and?
You know, from playing solo, and it's only a new thing for me really over the last couple of years, there's a purity to the guitar and voice, or piano and voice, how songs were born, songs that might have become band songs, but you know, regressing to how they were born. I feel there's a power to that, and I do have some bells and whistles, but there'll be songs, some Bell X1 songs, some songs from a project called Printer Clips, which was a duets project I had. Some solo material that I've been working on with Thomas Bartlett of The Gloaming, which we're sort of slowly making a record like the Postal Service. We've been firing stuff back and forth over the Atlantic for the last couple of years. And I had a couple of brand new things that I've finished at this time, and they've, for me, they speak to my experience of this time. So we'll see how they feel to other people. You know?
Well, Paul, we'll see you on the 5th, and thanks for talking to me, and stay
Thanks.
safe. Mind yourself.
I will.